Welcome back to the Advanced Buy Back Your Time video series. I hope you've been taking a ton of notes. I really wanted to unpack all the different areas I've seen people struggle with buying back their time and working through their team, the beliefs, the fears that they're having around doing some of this work, and really challenge you to consider maybe certain areas, if you're really good at this, to be great at this, or if you've been sitting on the fence, to finally take your first step. You know, the drip matrix, which I'm going to break down, was designed based off of a lot of different philosophies, different books. You know, I've read over 1,500 business books over the years, everything from David Allen's Getting Things Done, Checklist Manifesto, Gay Hendrickson's work and the concepts of zone of genius and the philosophy around infinite games. And there's been all these different people that have contributed to my work. And the drip matrix really encapsulates a lot of these philosophies, right? These concepts of how do we move away from doing work that feels debilitating, that feels heavy, that feels like it's sucking the energy out of our work, to a place where when you get up, you bounce to work. As Warren Buffett says, I skip, I dance to work, because you're excited about the task at hand, about the projects you're working on. You know, whenever I'm talking to a founder, just recently I actually got a call from one of my private coaching clients, and he was struggling. And on the phone, I literally recorded this call because I wanted to save it to share with him later. And I'm sitting there listening to him on speaker, and I recorded it on my laptop. And as he was talking, the energy was just like down. And he was like, having a hard time and trying to deal with some people issues. And I just asked him, I said, one out of 10, like 10 taking over the world, what I call exclamation mark, like I've got my whole, like the purpose of my life is figured out. And, a 1, what I call question mark, like what am I doing with my life, and low energy and all this stuff. Where are you feeling on that spectrum? And he's like, oh man, like probably like a 3 right now. And I said, yeah, dude, no duh. I can hear it in your voice, man. Like you sound it. So we literally used this framework where I kind of like had to go back to basics with them to just say, where's the challenges showing up? What are your bottlenecks? How do we move through this process where you keep doing work that makes you more money and also lights you up, gives you energy because your enthusiasm for your work? Sure, people are like, well, how do I grow my business? What's the tactic? What's the strategy? All that matters. I get it. But what's more important than anything is the energy you bring to your work, the conversational kind of like vision you have when you're talking out loud. People don't buy from you because you've convinced them of anything. They're buying your certainty. That's language. That's energy. And that's what the drip matrix helps you unlock so that you can move your way up to the top right quadrant to get the most out of your working day. So I want to unpack these 4 and really go deeper than I had the chance in the book, so that you can see yourself in these different strategies and figure out what's your next level. Again, if you're doing good, well, let's go great. If you're starting off, let's get off the couch. Let's do some work to help you get unlocked. The first one is right here, which is delegate, okay? The first is delegate. Delegate, okay? Delegate is just looking at your life today and just having other people take stuff over, right? Because your work's gonna break down into kind of 2 areas. Either it's, important or not important, or it's either urgent or not urgent. And this comes from the Eisenhower matrix, okay? So this I learned from David Allen, I believe, in his book, Getting Things Done. But the 4 Ds are from that matrix, right? We either do stuff that is not important, not urgent. That's stuff we don't want to do, okay? Then there's the things that are important but not urgent. That's where we start to plan, right? So those are the 4 Ds, okay? If there's something that you're doing right now that is not urgent and not important, we want to delete it, okay? That's delete. We want to get it out of your world. Why are you doing it in the first place? This is everything from, social media to, for a lot of you guys, your inbox, because it's not adding anything to your life. And it goes even further than that. Think about this. For example, a lot of us work from home today. if somebody answers or rings the doorbell, I don't answer the door. Why? It sounds crazy, but like that's just another example where my mind has programmed itself as like, if I'm doing something that takes me away from what I actually meant to do, what I planned to do, then it's not urgent, or it's urgent and not important, right? So little things like that. I want to ask you, are you doing laundry in the middle of the day? Are you cleaning up when you're not supposed to? Because again, we want to do stuff that's important that we've planned for. That's up here, okay? The other D is to delegate, right? And that's why we want to do stuff that's important but not urgent for us to do it, okay? We want to delegate to other people. Then there's the things that are important and not urgent. Those are the things we want to delay or put into our calendar and schedule it, okay? And then there's things that are important but not urgent today. Those we want to defer, right? And that's where, for me, I like to plan things on a quarterly and annual basis. So sometimes people come to me with new ideas. They're like, hey, you know what you should really do? You should do this. Perfect. I write it down. I don't need to get distracted right now. I don't have to do anything with that. I can put it off to review later. So this quadrant of the drip matrix is really to understand, let's get some more freedom in our calendar without spending $1. That's why I designed it this way, because I want it to be low cost to you. A lot of these things are just decisions to delete them. Some of you have processes in your business that you're still doing today that if you actually looked, you could say, well, does anybody even look at this report? That would be a huge opportunity to delete, right? Things that are being done in your business that are no longer needed because nobody took the time to kind of sharpen the saw, that we can just remove, okay? So that's the first stage. The next place we want to move from there is to replace. Replace, that's the R in the drip matrix, replace. What does that look like? Well, that's called the replacement ladder, okay? There's 5 rungs to the replacement ladder. And I designed this because a friend of mine once asked me, they said, if you were starting a business from scratch, you didn't have a team, what order would you hire people in? Which is a great question, because at the time I had a big team and it's been a while since I'd started from scratch. And I went back and I designed the replacement ladder because as we were buying companies, I was using this as almost like a kind of a hit list of activities that we would need to implement into a business that we acquire, right? So first off, assistant. Does the person, the CEO of the company we acquire, have an executive assistant? No, first hire. Then it's how well are they doing the delivery side of things? How well are they doing marketing, sales, their leadership, right? Now I share this because essentially it's designed where the bottom of the ladder is the lowest cost to get support that buys you the most time. So another opportunity for low cost to free up your calendar and do things that only you can do, light you up, and then move your way to the top. Now my buddy Nate one time, he came to me, he was all excited because he's like, hey Dan, I just hired a salesperson, okay? Sales is right here, level 4. That's interesting. How big's your company? He's like, oh, you know, we still have a small team. And I was like, well, how many sales calls a week are you doing right now? And he's like, well, you know, I think last week we were doing about on average 3 or 4. Okay, that's interesting, because here's what I've learned, you know, coaching hundreds of founders on this strategy so far is a salesperson that if you're not busy doing 15, 20 sales calls a week, then what typically happens in that scenario is the salesperson you hire, you'll either fire in 2 or 3 months because they're not making any money because they're not doing enough calls, or they're going to quit because salespeople like making money. So you don't have enough leads. So I was like, hey, Nate, that's interesting, but can I ask you a question? He's like, yeah. I go, well, why aren't you doing 15 sales calls a week? And he's like, well, we don't have enough leads coming in. And I was like, okay, well, why don't you build a marketing plan that generates more leads? And he's like, well, I'm too busy doing the delivery. Oh, and why are you still involved in doing the work that you're selling instead of like maybe leaning on your assistant? He's like, yeah, my assistant, I mean, I have her. She's not really working out the way I thought she would. I go, is she managing 100% of your inbox, your calendar? Well, not really. Okay, Nate, let's start back at the beginning. So I unpack this for you because I want you to see yourself in this, right? Are you still the only person that does marketing? Have you built a marketing process? Have you looked at the 10-80-10 rule and tried to figure out how can I pull myself out of delivery, right? Do I actually have a salesperson, or am I still doing the sales process? Have I documented a process so that if I did bring somebody in, did I camcorder method my sales calls? Am I recording my sales calls right now? There's all these opportunities for you to just think about the replacement ladder, for you to evaluate what's missing for you to get to that next level. And what you don't want to do is build what I call a house of cards, where if you hire too many people above you or to the side, that's why I created the buyback rate, because I want to force you to evaluate what is my buyback rate and what can I afford to pay somebody, so that you don't take all the profit out of the business. Because nobody wants to build a business they grow to hate. Well, I'll tell you, the fastest way to build a business you grow to hate is spend all your time building the business and not make any profit. Fastest way. Literally, you'll be like, Dan, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to sell the company. The 3 S's, right? You'll sabotage yourself. So that's replace. If we get really good at the 4 Ds of time management, okay, the Eisenhower matrix, to delegate, then we go to replace and we start asking ourselves what's missing the next step to move our way up. Then we get to come down over here, which is invest, okay? And invest is a great one, but most people miss the opportunity in invest. Invest for me comes down to 3 things, the 3 priorities to get the most, again, dollar for impact, okay? The first place, if you've got a business that you should, when you start buying back your time, that you should invest in is what I call renew. Renew. Okay, I'll unpack that. Okay, renew is anything that has been working or could be kind of like not working as great, but that you haven't invested in a while. Let me unpack that a bit. So I had a buyer once come to our organization or to our event in SaaS Academy, and he was interested in kind of like becoming a client. And, you know, I was asking him, well, where are you at now and where do you want to be? And he's telling me, and then I go, well, you know, how did you get to this level? He's like, oh, well, we did all this stuff. And I go, cool, well, when's the like, why are you coming to me today? He's like, well, our revenues dropped. And I go, oh, when did they start to drop? And they go, about 3 months ago. I asked him this simple question. I said, what did you do 3 months prior to the revenue drop to create the spike? Because he had like a spike and then it dropped. He goes, webinars. I said, well, when's the last time you did a webinar? He's like, well, at the top of the spike. And I go, what did you do? He goes, I went to an event and somebody talked about Facebook ads. So we stopped doing webinars, we started doing Facebook ads. And I go, oh, you had a winning strategy that you stopped. And what I encourage him to do, like most people have things that are kind of yellow in their business, and they go to an event and they want to find something new to do. But my argument is if you take something that used to work or is kind of working and spend time and energy and money on that, renewing it and investing in it, it will produce more capital that allow you to buy back more time. I hope you understand this. One of my buddies, Clay Collins, he built a company called Lead Pages. And he had this philosophy around the, you know, I don't even know what he called it, but I call it the scaling credo of just like focusing your business, right? And the whole idea is like doing things that kind of work, but just sticking to them longer than most people. Most people are so quick to go to the new thing, they don't focus on the thing that's already working, the true thing. Then we want to go to renew. That's the first place I'm going to look at. The next place you should invest is in you. Okay? You. We've talked about this a lot. Those 3 areas, S, B, and C. S, B, C. Skills, beliefs, and character traits. What are the skills I need to elevate or learn to implement to grow to the next level? Some of you guys, well, I want to hire somebody to do my marketing. Well, you haven't built a marketing plan. So you're going to hire somebody that knows how to build a market. You know, like this is what's missing. So skills, beliefs. You have beliefs around what you should be doing with your time in your calendar, right? That's not allowing you to get rid of things that you should delete out of your life. If you're literally buying back your time to just go scroll TikTok, then you have some belief challenges, right? Around your personal self-worth, your sabotaging behaviors that you got to get out of it. And then character traits is how do you lock those into who you are, right? The mental toughness, the motivation, the persistence, the positivity, the gratitude. Those are all character traits. That's the second area. The third and final, which most people jump to first, is the new. What are the new opportunities that I could invest in to get more growth in my business? Okay? So most people go new, you, renew. They go new things. Then they go to themselves, personal development, programs, masterminds, etc. And then maybe somebody on their team that they hire goes, hey, what happened to that thing we used to do? Did you guys used to do sales audits on your calls? Yeah. Why'd you guys stop? I don't know, we just stopped using that tool that recorded our sales calls. So nobody's been auditing the calls and coaching the sales team. Yeah, we should probably do that again. Renew. So understand, most people do this backwards. They start with new, then they focus on themselves, and then renew new things that used to work that they haven't invested in a while. We go there to build up the capital, the time, the opportunity. We do the replacement ladder to free up our time to go to the P of the matrix, okay, which is produce. And produce is one of my favorites. Why? Because when we produce, we're essentially saying, when I work, I want to create the most value in my business. And the way we do that is by looking at our calendar, okay? We want to look at our calendar. And the calendar is a beautiful thing. Here's the philosophy I want to invite you to consider, is that my job as an entrepreneur, as a father, as a person, is to create a rhythm in my life that continuously gets better. Let me share it this way. A lot of people that try to lose weight or go on a diet, you know, they've done this in the past where they went into like severe caloric deficit and they, you know, they're working out and they're eating 1,500 calories a day and they're losing weight, right? But through that experience of, you know, 2 or 3 months or a few weeks before a vacation, they just have this like this energetic connection to that activity that feels like depleting, right? It's like, oh yeah, I know I need to go on a diet, but like that hurt. I know I got to hire somebody, but I've done that before and that hurt. And there's this like energy in their body, this trauma from past lived experience that's going to stop them from moving forward. What I encourage people to do as it pertains to producing in your business is to design a rhythm for our calendar that is easy to maintain. So for example, instead of going on a diet, you should just work out 45 minutes every day and then eat, you know, essentially a gram of protein for your body weight and try to not be in a caloric surplus, right? And what happens is if I can create that rhythm and that routine, then there's no effort in it, right? When you see people that are healthy and vibrant and energetic, there's nothing different about they don't do diets. They're just like, that's their health plan. There's no like meal like deprivation. They just eat clean. They eat lean protein. They eat real food. And that's what I want for your calendar, right? When I think of, you know, the concept of building an empire, right? A life of unlimited creation we never have to retire from. I want you to figure out how to design your life, your calendar in a way that creates a rhythm that you never have to run from, right? And the way we do that is this concept that I like to think about is playing the infinite entrepreneurial game. Ask yourself this question: what if you couldn't retire? What if you could never retire? The idea of retirement actually only came around in the 40s because they were trying to get a lot of the older people out of the workforce so that they could make room for some of the young people that were coming into it. But like, my brain is not going to stop thinking, creating, seeing problems in the world. I don't know about you, if you resonate with that idea, but like most of the people I work with, they're like, retirement isn't like, that's for other people. Why would I retire from being me? I'm always gonna see opportunity around me. Why would I stop myself from creating stuff? Now, does that mean I wanna be required to move an idea forward? No, nor do I want you to be. That's why we designed this. I want you to design a calendar with a rhythm that produces your best work, that does work that lights you up, that challenges you. Like, this is not about easy. This is about feeling challenged and being useful on the creative output, where you know that the work you're doing, the meetings you're having, that it's forcing you to use a part of your mind and your creativity that you love, that you want to do, right? And do it in a way that it never has to stop. See, the whole idea of an infinite game is to play a game that there is no winning. Like, there's no winning at life, right? The point of your health is to be healthy. It's not like you get to a place and then you stop. The point of creating wealth is to maintain and have wealth. It's not to like have it and then lose it, or to be in a great relationship. It's not to like have the relationship and then not be in the relationship. It's about the game, to play the game. Like, this is such an important concept that I really want to just let you hear it again. Is the whole point of buying back our time is to get to a place where when we produce, We're designing a calendar, a rhythm that we never have to not do. And that's what's cool about it. If you want to do 12 weeks of vacation a year, travel the world, do 2 new countries or whatever, cool. Work your way to a place where you can buy back your time, still feel useful, right? But do it in a way that produces an output to the world. I mean, I really think that we're here to do 2 things. We're here to be the best version of ourselves and share that person with the world. And we do that by this level, this production system, right? So that's what I wanted to focus on today is we start off with the 4 Ds, right? Then to delegate, then we go to replace. How do we buy back our time, get stuff out of our world and do it in a way where we don't fall back or go too top heavy? Then invest the newfound time or financial resources in projects that used to work. Let's make them work again so we can generate more profit. Then focus on you so you can become the person who can and deal with more. Then look at new opportunities with your team to invest in the business. And then create the calendar that when you work, you're only doing the work that lights you up, that makes you the most money in your business. And that's a game that we keep trading upwards till we accomplish this. So I want to ask you one question, okay? What is the project, the thing that you used to do that you stopped doing? That you know, if you go back to right now and just start going again, is it sending messages on LinkedIn? Is it posting social media content? Is it partner webinars? Is it your affiliate program? What is it in your business that you used to do that actually created a ton of value, revenue for you and your team that you stopped doing? Go invest there once you kind of process this so you can generate the resources to replace yourself to get to a point where you can produce more. That's my invitation to you, is to consider that. So write that down, take action on it. In the next video, we are going to talk about your ultimate future. How do you become the best version of yourself? Pull yourself into that and then figure out where the opportunities are to become that person. I'll see you there.